All right, good morning, good afternoon, traders. Today is September 24th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, everybody in podcast land, digital land, cyberland. Special shout out to everybody that shares my content. That's Bob Jordan, Jim Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted. Thank you so much for getting the good word out there. Appreciate that. All right, let's take a look. Today made 30K on a 141K account. Let's go take a look at the markets and see what happened today. All right, so here's QQQ. You can see we started out QQQ. QQQ came right off the pivot, opened up right here, right at the pivot. And it was a 10-minute continuation of the 10-minute downtrend from yesterday. Right into noon, and then from there we went into consolidation over to the right all day. Didn't even just kind of a dead cat bounce, really. Just kind of drifted over to the right. So all there was, you can see right here, red erases green entry right there at the red line. There was a chance to get in and dip lower right there. That's it. And then the 3 crosses the 8. Time to get out. That's the QQQs for you. Let's take a look at SPY. And on SPY, we had the same thing. Again, we opened up right here at the pivot. Okay, about 664.50. Again, we went to the right. And then right here, we crossed. And you had, 2-3 candles down here to the lows. And then we drifted over to the right in a bear flag. All right, so yesterday we ended the day with a bear flag, and today we're ending the day with another bear flag underneath VWAP. So here's the 10-minute downtrend under VWAP right here that was totally tradable. Called it out in the room. Same thing with QQQ, 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. It was there. I called it out in the room. It was red erases green right here. If you followed the game plan, you had an entry and you made some profits right here. So made minimal profits today on that downtrend. I was underwater because I had some puts that I held overnight, and I got to tell you, they really decayed overnight. So there's SPY. Spent most of the day just trying to dig them out from underwater. So there's SPY. So probably not going to do that again. I do have some calls for GDP. I expect GDP to be good tomorrow. That is, GDP is going to be released at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So we'll see what happens with that. So there's the 10-minute. I'm not even going to call it an uptrend or a downtrend. That's just nothing but consolidation. Moving over to the right there. Same thing with QQQ. I'm not going to call it an uptrend or a downtrend. It's just moving over to the right. You can see it crisscross 2 or 3 times right there. Let's take a look at the 2-hour charts for both of them. 2-hour charts on each of them. QQQ still in a 2-hour downtrend. SPY still in a 2-hour downtrend. Okay, so again, my favorite trade is the 10-minute uptrend inside the 2-hour uptrend that's inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly, inside the monthly. I like it when I get all those bigger time frames supporting my my 10-minute uptrend anyways. Okay, so let's take a peek at the daily chart. Let's look at SPY on the daily. And today we got a lower high and a lower low. We closed under a bullish trap and over the rising 17 EMA. Top of quadrant 4. All right, so that's still bullish, still in an uptrend. Another red day in a row. Let's take a look at the 2-day, and let's look at the VZO. I'm just curious. Just want to see what's going on here with the VZO. See if there's any signs of something manifesting. And today we were still up over the 9 EMA on the volume zone oscillator. Okay, so nothing to report yet. All right, on SPY. That's on the 2-day chart. Usually I'm looking for something like this, which leads into something like that. Something like this that doesn't make it up to the 9 EMA, which leads to something like that. All right, not happening today. Didn't happen at all. Actually, those bars are kind of standing just as tall as the original when we started our rally. All right, so there's SPY on the 2-day. All right, it's in an uptrend. You can see it top of quadrant 4. That's bullish, still in an uptrend. Weekly's going to be still bullish and in an uptrend. Take a peek at that as soon as I squeeze this. Weekly chart, see all the green dots. Weekly still in a bullish uptrend. Bullish, still in an uptrend. Monthly chart, bullish, still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ will work backwards. Monthly, uptrend. Weekly, obviously, uptrend. Daily, and on the daily candle, same as SPY, but a little bit healthier. Lower high, lower low, closing in the bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA on QQQ, whereas SPY closed under the whole trap. Okay, let's take a look at FNGU. And FNGU closed under the trap yesterday, and today we're closing under the trap again. Actually, we're under the cross. We're getting a bearish cross right here. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish cross, but over the rising 17 EMA. We're still bullish up here, the top of quadrant 4, okay, and still in an uptrend. We haven't broken anything yet. Okay, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, like the others, lower high, lower low, closing under bullish trap, but over the rising 17 EMA on the daily chart. Still bullish, still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at IWM. Same deal. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bullish trap over the rising 17. Again, still bullish, still in an uptrend right there. It's just a pullback in an uptrend right now. That's all we're experiencing. Nothing is broken yet. There's IWM, Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at our tech. Let's take a look at gold and silver. All right, so gold, lower high, lower low, closing in a bullish trap. Take a peek. Yep, in the bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. Price action is up at the top of quadrant 4 right there. You can see bullish, still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at SLV. SLV at 14-year highs. Come on, baby. Let's try it again. SLV. There we go. All right, SLV, and lower high, lower low, closing over bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA, and that's 14-year highs up there. That's bullish and still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO, wow, different kind of candle today. All right, so USO still neutral, but now in an uptrend because they took out this high. Not bullish because it's not in the upper third. Not bearish because it's not in the lower third. So just neutral, but now in an uptrend. Price action, again, over the midpoint, on the bullish side of the midpoint, and on top of the 3-year high anchored VWAP. There's USO. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG was headed down towards the lows, the all-time lows. UNG got a higher high and a higher low, closing inside of closing under a bearish trap under the 17. It's at the bottom of quadrant 1. That's bearish. It's in the lower third. And it's still in a downtrend on UNG. Take a look at technicals. T2101. And we'll look at that on the 15-minute chart. And you can see right here, we hit new lows for T2101. And I just want to see how far back those lows go. Those are, there's 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. These lows right here. Okay, the last time we hit these lows was COVID 2020. All right, last time we got down this low. All right, just stating that that's where we're at. That was just before, I think that was just before COVID, the COVID crash. Right there. See that low? We're at the same spot we were with the COVID lows. So breadth measures the participation in the market. So this would be the lowest participation in 5 years, right there, 2020. 5.5 years, really. All right, so there's T2101 market breadth. Okay, on the 15-minute chart, again, digging out new lows again today. T2122. The day was well represented. I mean, we didn't go up, and you can see the price action. We made lower highs and lower lows and lower highs and lower lows again. So we wound up closing inside the seller's chop zone. Okay, should be interesting tomorrow. See if the market will find anything pretty out of GDP. We'll find out. This is T2122. You can see we're ending the day inside the seller's chop zone, almost knocking on the door of the sell zone. T2123. Yep, selling from the beginning of the day to the end of the day here on T2123. Closing underneath the 200 SMA. 15-minute T2123 is in a downtrend because they just keep making lower highs. See, there's a high. And they make lower lows. See, there's a low, they're making lower lows. So T2123, money coming out of the market right there. But still up at the all-time highs, all right? If we look at that on the 3-bar chart, you can see there's a good picture of it. Price action still consolidating up at the top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. Still up over the 200 SMA. We're under it on the 15 and in a downtrend, but we're over it on the 3-bar and in an uptrend on the 3-bar chart for T2123. Still here at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish and still in an uptrend. FNGU, more selling again today. Okay, so we started the day off selling and we ended the day selling well underneath VWAP here. Not a good sign. FNGU. We'll see what happens tomorrow. And that's it. And how I made money today. It was not easy. All it was, I gotta tell you, a lot of it was just making a big trade at the end of the day. Made 15K on these, on those calls right there. And it was mostly. Let's see what we got here. Let's go over to pre-market. Okay, let's move this up. Some 662 calls on SPY, kind of bought them for a penny, all right, 10,000, 5,000, sold them for 4 cents. That's it right there. Again, buying the lows of this consolidation in a plan for price to rip back up to VWAP right there. Okay, made 1,000 on some puts, and again, you know, I played this. I traded these the puts. Okay, traded this downtrend. Okay, so you can see where price dips down. Well, the put rises, and I took profit into strength up there. Then reloaded and captured profit. Then reloaded, captured profit, reloaded, captured more profit, and then reloaded for tomorrow. All right, 803 on some Intel calls. I had some Intel. I sold them all at the beginning of the day, right up here. Okay, I did not fix your price coming up to 31.51. Nice move, but I do have some in my other account over there. So there's made 803, sold all my calls that I purchased yesterday down here near the bottom of the quadrant lines. All right, so that was I said I was going to do this and sell them into the rally. I could see price coming back to the midpoint, and you can see we came all the way up to challenge the highs up here by the end of the day. So it stuck with it right up there. Of course, I had a 10-minute uptrend that was closing out right here. That's why I took profit right there into strength. Okay, so there's that. And then 5K on some calls right here. Just trying to get out. Again, bought and sold. You can see these were no more than 1 penny and 4 pennies for the most part of the day. Again, just not fun at all. No trend. Okay, these were calls. You need an uptrend for calls. Didn't have an uptrend at all until the very end of the day, and then these were closed out for those. 2,000 on some more calls again. You know, buying them for a penny, selling them for 3 pennies. 2,700 on 602 calls. Again, buying the dip, selling the rally on those calls there. And 310 on some 610 calls. I just wanted to exit those first thing this morning. And I just put my order out and they filled it. So that's it for me for today. All right, 30K on a 141K account. I'll move this over to the right. Yeah, USO, big surprise there. Yep, don't forget GDP tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning. I'll see everybody at 8:30. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Not really the best day, all right? Sometimes you get those days where the market just moves to where it wants to go, and then it just doesn't go anywhere. It took all day, Brian, right here, you know, from noon until 4:15 to get back to VWAP. I mean, talk about dragging your feet, all right? It's just, sometimes that's all there is. So I would have thought there'd been that, you know, that immediate red rubber school ball bounce, like the bulls would show up, you know, with a fierceness, and it didn't happen. We just kind of drifted up there. So thanks, everybody. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon. Apple and Intel are also in an early stage talks regarding how to work more closely together. Thank you for sharing that, Fahad. Thank you. And Tech's got a flow chart. Just want to see what his flow chart. Oracle, OpenAI, Microsoft, NVIDIA, GPU computing. Kakashi, I'm not sure what that is. So it looks like they all go back to CoreWeave. Well, they actually all go back to each other on that flow chart. Interesting. Hence the message. Okay, all right. All they doing is swapping information. All right, traders, that's it. See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll do it again.